Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of the new Mogwai LP, Rave Tapes. These guys are a famed instrumental rock band. This is their 8th studio full-length LP, an album that I was anticipating, even though I forgot to put it on my anticipated albums of 2014 list. But I was anticipating this LP because I did enjoy the band's last full-length LP so much, Hardcore Will Never Die, But You Will. Mogwai's music, for the most part, has always been herded into the post-rock genre, a mostly instrumental brand of very dramatic rock music. They're also considered to be one of the originators of the genre. However, the band never really felt the need to stick to the confines, the borders of this genre that were sort of set in stone after they put out such defining albums like Young Team and Happy Songs for Happy People and Come On Die Young. The band's drive to experiment has always kept their next album interesting, but I haven't always been in love with every release that Mogwai has put out. And recently, what seems to be the direction of Mogwai's sound is they've been stepping away from some of the drawn-out builds and really heavy, loud crescendos that they're most known for, simplifying their tracks, making them a lot more direct, straightforward, and to the point, like on the 2008 LP, The Hawk is Howling. However, I don't really think Mogwai succeeded in this direction until they came out with Hardcore Will Never Die. However, this particular LP also saw the band bringing another change into the fold as well, and that is electronics and synths. Things that are definitely not strangers in Mogwai's music, but the emphasis on these things felt so much larger on this LP, especially with some of the tracks on here that felt almost krautrock influenced. And to me, Rave Tapes is just another part of this ongoing transition. And even though Mogwai is still definitely making rock music, the synthesizers seem to be what really gives this album direction, especially on the first few tracks here. Even though there are some very prominent synths in the mix on a lot of these songs though, I wouldn't really say that Mogwai is coming from a different place compositionally on this record. They're still at this point in their career where they are writing these rock tunes that they are too loud to be ambient. They're too loud to just be background music. However, they move at such a slow, glacial pace. I would never call them exciting or explosive. The music here is slow, it's repetitive, and maybe that is going to cause some people to tune out, understandably. But I also think these tracks in a way are hypnotic. They are seductive. Plus, I do think these songs have a strong sense of emotion too. I can really feel moods coming from these tracks that are beautiful, epic, uplifting, or even bleak and dismal and depressing. And even though I do feel these moods coming from these tracks, they can be a little ambiguous too. Some of these songs feeling like a mix of all of these feelings. All these emotions just brought together into these very, very patient songs that to me are just like this very aggressive tranquility. Like the opening track on here, Heard About You Last Night, a song that has these delayed chime synthesizers that ring out really beautifully and these gently wailing guitars soaring over some very slowly moving bass and drum grooves. It's legitimately relaxing music. However, it's not terribly memorable. And I think the obvious reaction to this song and a lot of songs on here is, well, why don't they play faster? Why isn't the playing more lively? Why isn't it louder? Why isn't it just more... And while I do feel that way to an extent, I also don't want Mogwai to abandon their very clear relaxation mission, because I do think they're on the cusp of making music that is very gentle on the ears, is very soft, but is also engaging and incredibly enjoyable. Even though every song on here isn't exactly wowing me, I do think that Mogwai does bring some variety to the table. The song Simon Ferocious is one of the noisier tracks on here, faintly psychedelic with its wailing wall of guitars. And the song features these really rough, saw-tone bass synths as well that sort of buzz and gurgle their way through the track. And the closing track on here, which has vocoder vocals on it, also something Mogwai has done before, but this track does feel a little refreshing in that it is the most electronic song on this entire album. Some of the drums in the background feel like they're synthetically generated, and the synths really take the wheel on this track too. Songs like this ride the border between blissful and mundane so hard that it actually blurs the lines between the both of them a little bit. And even though I really admire what songs like this are aiming for, the tracks on here that are going for something completely different are the ones that I admire and remember the most. Like the song Remurdered, which feels like something that could come out of a progressive synthesizer rock album soundtrack for some sort of sci-fi film from decades ago. If you're into the music of Goblin or Zombie, I could definitely see you enjoying this track. And then there's the song MASTERCARD, which has these really sharp, shrill rhythm guitars that grab my attention right from the start. It's got a great groove, and for a song this slow, there's a lot of force to it. There's a lot of power to it. It takes me back to Mogwai albums like Mr. Beast. The only major letdown for me on this LP was the song Repellish, a very moody instrumental rock song with this vocal snippet of a guy talking about subliminal satanic messages in Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven, which in concept sounds like a very epic idea, but when this guy talks, it feels like he's giving an oral report in front of his classmates at some Catholic school that he's enrolled in. Overall, I think Rave Tapes is a decent release from Mogwai. Not quite as underwhelming as The Hawk is Howling, but nowhere near one of my favorites of theirs. I admire what they're doing with the synths and the electronics on this LP, but I do think some of the songwriting is a little lackluster, forgettable. The fact that a lot of the songs on this LP are so reserved does sort of make it a mood album, and it's not like mood albums don't already exist in Mogwai's discography. However, for an LP that is so driven by emotion, I don't find it to be particularly moving, and that's all. I'm feeling a light to decent 6 on this thing. Transition, if you've given this LP a listen, what did you think of it? Did you love it? Hate it? Why? What do you think I should review next? And that's it. Anthony Fantano, Mogwai, forever.